You're listening to Our Introverted Lives, a podcast not only for introverts, but for all personality types. Your personality has an impact on your daily life, whether it be physically, emotionally, spiritually, or mentally. Join us weekly as we learn more about each other and ourselves. Hey there, everybody. Thank you for listening to Our Introverted Lives. I'm your host, Justin Ross, and in today's episode, we're going to be talking about how people from different personality types can still date, they can still get married, and how they learn to live with each other and their different personality quirks. So first of all, me and my wife, I would say we're at different ends of the spectrum when it comes to personality types. I feel like she is an extrovert, and I definitely feel like I am an introvert. And we've been married for 4 years now. It was actually our anniversary yesterday, and we have been together for 9, almost 10 years now. Now, I wanted to touch base on today's question because I feel like it's a question that comes up more often than not. People that are introverts wonder how they can relate and how they can have common ground when it comes to dating or being in a relationship with somebody that's an extrovert, and extroverts wonder the same thing about introverts. So I wanted to just kind of give you guys some tips and some experience that me and my wife have to help answer that question for you guys. So I'm not gonna lie, at the beginning of the relationship, when me and my wife first started dating, I felt like I was kind of putting on a show to make myself look a little more interesting than I actually was, because I wanted to beat out the competition, right? I wanted to stand out from the pack because my wife had a lot of guys coming at her, trying to win her. And I felt like the more interesting that she would think I was, the more likely I would be to date her, right? And especially since my wife is an extrovert, she likes people that, are very interesting. Now, you still want to mostly act like yourself. You don't want somebody to fall in love with a fake version of yourself, right? So, and I'm not saying you should do what I did, but maybe 90% of how I was acting was my true self, and the other 5 or 10%, I was kind of acting to try to make myself look even better, right? And even more interesting. Now, like every other relationship, there has been challenging times. There have been times where I failed to see how she feels about doing something, and for her too, right? So when you're dating an extrovert or an introvert, whether that person is on the opposite end of the spectrum that you are, or whether they're on the same end of the spectrum, you have to take into consideration and truly think, okay, how does this person feel about doing this, or about attending this social gathering, or about meeting new people? And you have to find ways to make the other person comfortable with doing the things that you want to do. You can't just expect your partner not to feel anxious about doing a certain activity or about meeting new people that you're completely fine with. If you want to plan to do something with your partner, and your partner tells you, hey, listen, I'm feeling a little too anxious to be doing this, compromise with your partner. Tell them, okay, well, will reducing the number of people that you're going to be exposed to, will that help your anxiety? And if that doesn't help, then, okay, how can we tweak this activity to meet your needs? How can we tweak this to make you comfortable with doing this activity? If you try compromising with your partner and that doesn't help, you always have to accept that, okay, this person doesn't feel comfortable with doing X, Y, and Z, so you have to learn to respect that. And if you can't respect that, then maybe you shouldn't hang out with the other person anymore. Or maybe you should find a new friend or find a new partner or whatever the other person's relationship is to you. I feel like failing to compromise is the number one biggest issue when it comes to dating somebody on the opposite end of the personality spectrum. For some reason, people just hate to compromise. And I don't know if it comes down to stubbornness or just the feeling of being uncomfortable, but people hate to compromise. I feel like if partners learn to compromise with one another, the relationship would be so much better. And if you learn to compromise, you can learn to respect each other a lot better. You'll be a lot less miserable because you will be able to have that relationship with your partner where you know that you can compromise on pretty much everything. Now, I'm not saying there won't be times where you guys just can't seem to agree or compromise on something, because I promise you both are going to have those moments. What I'm saying is that if maybe 90% of the time you guys can come to a compromise, then that's an indication of a happy, healthy relationship. And the other 10% of the time, you both are just going to have to suck it up and learn to respect your partner's decision that they're uncomfortable with doing something and just move on. But if most of the time you guys just can't seem to agree on stuff and you guys just seem like you're butting heads all the time, you can't compromise with one another, then that's an indication of a toxic relationship, and maybe you should review your status with the other person. Thank you guys so much for listening to today's episode. I know it's been a while since my last episode. I'm going to try to upload more frequently. I have honestly been battling depression and anxiety and mental health issues, and I just really want to thank you guys for still tuning into the podcast and still keeping an interest in it, because it really does help me to talk about these things that I face on a daily basis. And so thank you guys so much, and I'll talk to you guys in the next one. If you're listening to the podcast on YouTube, please like this video, click the big thumbs up button underneath this video, and subscribe to the channel. It really does help a lot. And if you guys are listening on Spotify, please click the follow button and tune in. Thank you guys so much. I'll talk to you guys in the next one. Thanks.